How red do I look? How burned?
A little bit.
You look like a raccoon.
What game did you pick up?
Rockhurst.
Rockhurst men's. I was on the women's game.
Yep, you look like a raccoon.
Okay.
All right.
I thought we were ready. And then what
We're ready.
Okay,
We got derailed.
I've been rolling. So,
They see me rolling.
Hey.
Nice. Check Complete, a referee podcast, is an educational resource for referees by referees, designed to connect and develop soccer officials of all ages and skill levels to better serve the game both on and off the field. We are back with the Check Complete podcast, another episode. I know you're thrilled. We're here with the one, the only Jason Paepke. Jason, wonderful to see you again.
It's good to be back. It's been a long time coming. If I wasn't so busy other times, I probably would have been back before, but it's good to be here.
It's all right.
Excited.
Yeah, we've reunited. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we got a lot on the docket today. So we're gonna nerd out a little bit. We've been nerding out some. We're gonna talk about a few things that you've seen recently in your coaching adventures. We're gonna talk about a question of the week we did about a week ago. And then we have a featured interview with Andrew Bigelow, Pro AR. So that'll be very exciting to chat with him. It's good stuff. So before we dive in here, if you're not already, could you do us a favor and just hit the like or subscribe button on the YouTubes? Just do a little subscribe, okay? On social media, on Instagram and Twitter at check_complete. Check Complete Podcast on Facebook. Just it's not that much to ask, right?
It's a pretty simple process.
Very simple. We're not going to blow up your feed. It's
People
quality.
underestimate the value of that little like.
Yeah. Just help us out and have 700 or 800 of your friends do the same. So that'd be great. So let's dive into this a little bit. We didn't really talk about the order of how we're going to do this, did we? So let's go ahead and just dive into your observations recently.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like I said, since I spend more time on the coaching side now, I try to still do a little bit of mentoring as a coach.
Yeah.
And so, which is difficult sometimes because sometimes it's perceived as me just complaining when in reality it's just trying to help. So if they don't have the perspective, but I had a young man on my game Friday night. His first name's Adam. I truly don't even know his last name. Little blonde-headed kid. Maybe I'm probably gonna insult him. He was maybe 12 or 13. He's probably older, and just
sure.
I've insulted him. But it was a Division I game. He was doing a really good job. He did a great job as AR1. But there was in particular a play where there was a through ball to one of my forwards, and it was not called offside, but the other coach thought it should have been. So and so he questioned whether it was offside. And this young man, he knew exactly what he had seen, and he turned to the coach and just said, number 4 held her on, number 4 held her on. And he was very specific. He knew exactly what number it was. He knew that girl had dropped back and held the line, to keep my girl on side, my player on side. So it was just from a kid who clearly, is a fairly new referee, relatively speaking. To see a young man respond so quickly with that specific of information was pretty cool. So I snagged him after the game and just let him know that was really cool. I said there's a lot of older referees who wouldn't think to provide that information. He didn't get upset. He didn't overreact to their coach questioning his non-call. And the coach didn't say anything else. It was because he couldn't. It was just one of those situations where the response was exactly what was needed in that situation. So well done, Adam. Like I said, I wish I knew your last name, but maybe if you watch this, you'll know what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Somewhat on the other side of that, and I don't know this guy's name, but I had a game Saturday where we were subbing, and there were 3 or 4 subs from both teams coming into the game, and play was stopped. I felt like the guy waved them on, or at least indicated they could come on. So they start running on, and he forces them to come back to midfield because he hadn't blown his whistle. I mean, there was clearly nothing going on. I mean, the game was stopped. Everyone was waiting for the subs to come on. And it was one of those ones that I'm like, there was no confusion about who was coming on and off the field. Unless I'm missing something new, I don't think that he needs to actually whistle them onto the field.
No.
I mean, he just needs to.
And even if you had to, at that point, that seems like an interesting, fight to pick.
Right, and that's what I was convinced. I'm like, one, you don't have to whistle, but he did specifically say, I need to blow my whistle for you guys to come on. I need to whistle you on or whatever. And when I asked about it, he said, I said, you don't really need to blow the whistle to get them on. He goes, it's the little things, coach. and my response, not so everyone could hear it, but I just loud enough, I said, if it's the little things that matter, then we need to have a much larger conversation, because he had called a PK in the previous game from about midfield and then proceeded to jog into the penalty area. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I was a coach there, I'd be upset. So, a little bit of both sides there. So, if you're gonna respond to a coach that it's the little things that matter, then you need to make sure that you're really getting all the little things right. And overall he did a good job. But again, it was one of those funny situations.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
people are always watching, right?
That's
And there's
right.
always opportunities to learn.
Yeah, someone's always watching. So, and I've had him several times. So I've already talked to some of the field marshals because he's had some he was better. He was definitely better Saturday than he'd been in previous games. So, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's good.
So some music, your musings from the
There you
sideline,
go.
if
Just
you will.
stuff I see.
That's right. Well, so a week or so ago, we did a question of the week. We didn't do one this last week, but we'll try to make this a more regular thing. But we did a question of the week, and I just want to draw some attention to this because the question was, when it comes to game day food, what have you eaten that you have regretted the most come game time?
Yeah.
So this was posed through our social media, and we had several responses. And I wish I could say this wasn't based on recent personal experience. I wish I could say that it wasn't based on. But anyway,
It's a story for later.
yeah, exactly. But so we had some responses. So some of these that we got in, like somebody said chocolate, steak. Five Guys cheeseburger and fries.
There we go. That's
Yeah.
that's the one.
This person is Creighton said never again. Post game favorite though.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Afterwards?
Oh,
By
afterwards
all
you've
means.
burned it. You've earned it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody else said Chick-fil-A. Interesting. Fernando Pena said roast beef at U.S. Youth Soccer Nationals during a long lightning delay in 90+ degrees and great humidity.
And I thought I saw something about regionals. I was thinking, I have to with the fact that you're at the field from potentially early in the morning until evening, and you have that meal in the middle of the day. I just have to imagine that there's some pretty good regionals or nationals stories.
There has to be.
Because you're eating whatever's put out there for you. You're starving, and I just have to imagine
There's got to be. And I know those are typically like at regional events, and they try to get something a little bit healthier.
Oh yeah, but it's just the idea of it's the eating. You have this small window. It's set up from A to B.
Right.
You don't if you have a 1 o'clock game, you don't have the flexibility to go eat earlier.
Right.
You have to eat in this window, even if that window is right before your
that's when
game.
you're eating. Yeah, right.
And so I have to imagine there's some guys that have overindulged at lunch and regretted it.
Oh, I'm sure.
At some point. So.
I'm sure. Yeah, so In-N-Out Burger, we don't have that problem here, but so we don't have that. But and then we've had a few others here. TJ, Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's just dumb. That's just not a good choice.
Anytime
Yeah.
it's going to cause you problems.
Yeah,
really.
it's a definite no.
But it is delicious. Scott Dyer, hot dog at halftime of a boys varsity soccer game. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yes, well said, Scott.
Scott should know better than that.
Well, Tyler Sawyer. Oh man, Tyler, why? He did the one chip challenge at noon and had a 4 p.m. game. So that's that. Where
it's like the
crazy.
it's like the it's like the ghost pepper.
Ghost,
or
yes.
whatever. Yeah, it's like some ridiculous.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why do you do that anytime? Honestly, I have not
I don't know either.
participated in that. So
That really doesn't make sense. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, last spring I wolfed down McDonald's double quarter pounder like an hour before kickoff.
Wow.
It set like a rock.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in college, I played at KU, just club soccer, and I would oftentimes just grab like McDonald's before practice, and fortunately, but never, because I couldn't practice on an empty stomach. That made it worse. If I had an empty stomach, I would feel worse. But I was like back, I'm like, how did I survive?
How? I know.
Practice with McDonald's in me, but
I'm going to call out Drew Klemp on this because, and I'm not going to go into great detail, but this man has an iron stomach.
Yeah.
Like, we worked, I want to be careful on specifics, but we worked a fairly higher profile game. And the morning of the game, we went out to breakfast with several people involved in this match. And he was doing a 2 p.m. kickoff. This is 10 a.m., 9:30, 10.
You'd think it would be.
So he ate a cinnamon roll, French toast or cinnamon roll pancakes thing and chased it with a milkshake for breakfast.
That's nice to be young.
I
That's a youth-
I wouldn't be able
that's
to
a
walk
youth
out of the
meal.
restaurant. Let alone
Yeah. That's
It's
a
terrible.
lot of sugar.
that's
That's a
word.
lot of sweetness.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, Drew can wolf down any kind
Right.
of food, and
Yeah.
I don't know if we had callers, like we could have him call in, and I'm sure he'd
Yeah,
tell us
like-
before his games today he ate,
Something ridiculous.
some outrageous.
Yeah.
Cheesesteak in Philadelphia.
The Philly cheesesteaks.
Two of 'em?
Yeah, he went back. That's right. Mark behind the camera has reminded me we were in Philly for the coaches convention
Oh,
and
right.
the referee thing. For those of you that have the opportunity to go, the U.S. Soccer coaches. Wait, what is it called? The Soccer Coaches Convention.
Soccer, what the heck are they called now?
National Coaches Convention.
National
Yeah,
Coaches
it's a national
Convention, yeah.
coaches convention.
But they do the soccer referee piece as part of it. So if
Right.
you have an opportunity to attend that, do that. So we actually, a few of us flew out to Philly for that this past January. And we were trying the 2 Philly cheesesteak places. It's like Mike's and then the other one that's across the street. And so we tried the one and I was like, oh, there's one across the street.
The one across the street is really offended now that you don't remember them well
I know,
enough.
I know. But so I ate the one there. Yeah, I'm sure they're watching this podcast.
Never know.
Yeah. And so I wolfed down to Philly there and we're like, oh, we'll have to come back together. And they're like, no, we don't have to come back. So Drew went over and Drew and Brendan Sweetman, instead of like splitting one or getting a smaller size, no, they both
Got the
ate
full one.
a full size second Philly. Yeah. Now they didn't
But they
have
didn't
to
have
work
to work games,
No, there
right?
was
Yeah.
not a game.
Yeah.
And after that, cannolis.
We did go get cannolis.
How many?
I'd rather not talk about it. Questions need to stop coming from behind the camera at this point because it's just getting there. So
The gentlemen that know too many inside
too many
stories.
details
Prompting
about
stories, yeah.
But there was a couple of Italian restaurants, emphasis on 2, and we didn't want to provide one our customership and not the other.
You want to be fair. Just like the Philly cheesesteaks. You got to be fair.
So we patronized 4
Yeah.
establishments
Interesting.
total. So 2 Philly places, 2 Italian places, and then we were dead by
Yeah.
30 minutes
Sure.
later. So deceased. Anyway, so so be careful what you eat. Sometime we're gonna have like a nutrition specialist on, someone besides me. Anyway, someone to have a nutrition. We're having a nutrition specialist or something on. Someone who's really good with that, who knows how to take care of their body. Again,
That was too good.
someone
Well
besides me.
done.
But
Well played.
we're gonna have them on, and we're gonna talk about some of this stuff. We've
Yeah.
talked about it before, but I think what we should do is have like a taste testing. So if you would like to send items for us to taste test, why don't we just open that up to the masses?
There you go.
Anyway, all right. We've been doing another segment called Nerding Out. So we'll have we'll nerd out a little bit, and then we'll get to the interview with Andrew Bigelow, because I know you're all anxious to hear that and ready to get past our rambling. Well, you can do a 15-second skip, so
That's
I'm
right.
Uh, sure there's probably been several of those so far. Anyway,
And miss the good stuff?
this is.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't know why you would. So we've been nerding out on several things, and this week we're going to just talk about. We don't have a lot of physical examples, although I am wearing them right now, and that is shoes.
Yes.
lots and lots of options when it comes to shoes.
Yeah,
For
and-
referee, not
right.
not life.
Like just like yeah, no,
Right.
but and it's always interesting to see what different people prefer. Like
Right.
like I'm always surprised by, some people who wear cleats even when it's like hard ground, just because that's what they like to have, and I'm like,
Right.
that sounds awful.
It does.
to not have a turf shoe or something that
Right.
or you get the fun ones where somebody forgets their shoes that have any sort of grip, and they have to just wear running shoes, and that's
Right.
always interesting too. When
Right.
It's a little bit damp, on that turf. And
Yeah, if it's damp, you're going to be in trouble if you have just flats with no grab
Right,
on it.
yeah.
But that's, I mean, there's lots of choices, and I know for me, and this will become our question of the week for the following week after we release this, or maybe whenever this gets published to the masses.
right.
But there are lots of different choices. And it probably depends on, there's a lot of factors, right?
Sure,
Like you said, the conditions of the field as far as wet or dry, the surface that you're on. I know for me, if I'm gonna run a line on grass, I need something that's got grip to
Like
it.
cleats or
Like a-
just turf shoe.
Yeah, and I recently switched, and I'm going to plug Official Sports, the Impero, and so we'll put that in the comments here. They came out with a new shoe that Leland Grant kind of put together, or I'm not sure, Leland, what exactly you did, but you did well. Because I purchased these, and they're designed to be like...
It's a specific referee.
It's a referee shoe.
for soccer.
Yeah, it's a referee shoe, and I really like them.
Yeah.
I like them. They've got some grab. They're not like straight up cleats, but they've got. I mean, they're kind of cleaty.
Yeah.
They're cleaty. I guess.
The turf nubs.
Yeah, the nubs.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's a funny word to me. I don't know why. But anyway, they've got that on the bottom. But like today, I'll be honest. I ran 2 collegiate lines, and I wore Hokas for both.
Yeah.
Because it was dry,
Right.
and I needed. And somebody told me you shouldn't wear Hokas. I forget who that was. That was saying you shouldn't wear Hokas. They're not great for support with it, but they're so cushiony.
Yeah,
and they're
they're-
so. And I feel good
Right.
when I ref in them. So
And ultimately, isn't that really what it comes down to?
right.
Like, especially if you're on a line, like on a line where your movement is very side to side,
Right.
Where you're doing that same plant back and forth.
Right.
You've got to have something comfortable, because if you're not, if you're on a line, you're not comfortable, then because you're standing
Right.
a lot. So
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a conversation that mirrors this are insoles, which you could almost do a separate thing. But I would say, for those of you out there, that if you're dealing with issues related to shin splints or knees, like I was having patellar tendonitis issues, or even things all the way up into your hips and back, if you are willing, I had somebody a couple of years ago that was like, if you're willing to spend some money on some insoles, even custom ones, if you're willing to drop $200 to $300,
Right.
it will pay off big time.
Yeah.
And because it impacts, it is amazing. And I know there's people much smarter than me out there, just in general.
Right.
And that's a low bar, but there's people much smarter than me relative to this, that foot stuff,
Yeah.
that impact, it all the way up, right?
Yeah. I mean, no one I think should be surprised at the impact that your feet affect everything else, because
Right.
they're the foundation. So yeah.
Right.
And it's there's a movement now to more back kind of towards the barefoot type shoes, like the low that don't have the big lift on them,
Right.
and they have the wide toe box so your toes can spread out, and
Yeah.
so it's again, it's all about comfort, but it is when you're standing that long, you gotta have something that provides you what you need. So
Right. And if you're doing the marathon stuff, right, where you've got 4 or 5 games in a row,
right.
I mean, first of all, why? But secondly, like
Again, to be young again.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But that too, But let's not forget, especially for those of you that are very new to officiating, they need to be black or predominantly black.
Right.
Like, it drives me insane when I see when I come out and it's just there's no attempt. Like,
Right.
it's just
Even-
blatantly
it's
like white
or something.
gray.
Yeah, and sometimes kids come from a game where they've played a game and then they have
Fair.
to ref, and they're whatever they're they have a pair
And
of
or they
soccer shoes
forgot,
that are-
I get that, but
I had to wear some. I don't even remember what the color they were one time, but I left my ref shoes at home.
Yeah.
And I got to the park and I had time to go back, and the only thing I had in my car was something awful.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it was
red-
like
red pumps.
it was weird. Like
2 or 3 inch heels.
Yeah,
Red-
it was
red heels.
stilettos.
Yeah.
No, but it was just one of those ones that like even I felt. I don't think anybody like players probably didn't really think much of it.
Right.
But I felt like really weird. Like it distracted me from doing it because I was like I could see my feet. And
Yeah.
it wasn't black socks into black shoes. It was whatever. They might have been just gray, but it just looks weird when you've got your referee socks.
Yeah, it feels odd, especially since you're so used to it. Yeah.
Well, and if we're talking about shoes, maybe we can add on a little piece of this. I'd like to talk about how our local leagues have changed the rules for teenagers. That if you're below 18, you don't have to wear socks. Like you can just as long as there's
Yeah,
something that
drives
comes
me
out of the
nuts.
shoe, you're
Right.
okay. So, do you sense that sarcasm?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because we wouldn't want a tan line,
Yeah, I gave up on that a while ago. But earlier you did talk about stilettos, and I think I think having an all black pair is probably a safe bet.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's helpful with that is it can really help with managing dissent. If the coach is upset, you're like, listen, I'm aerating this field for you, so get off my back.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And it's good for your calves. It's a good calf
Oh, yeah.
workout.
I've got
up there.
I got
high lift.
crazy calves.
Yeah.
These are wacky calves. So
We need to steer it back.
yeah,
we need to
we
steer it
probably
back
need-
on the road.
We need to get back on the.
What do you prefer? So you said you have Hokas.
For me, I've been doing the Hoka thing for a little bit. I haven't tried a lot of different stuff. I haven't followed some of the threads on social media, but maybe we could start that and people can kind of dump in their opinions because everybody's got their own thing. What I will say is that shoes, I know it can get expensive.
Right.
And so like to try different things sometimes, it's like, it's
Well,
expensive. So you have to like find, for me, I don't like that trial and error. I'm like, okay, if I've got something, the Hokas tend to work okay.
Right.
And then I found the Imperial ones, those work well for the few games that I really need the grip on the line.
Right.
If it's wet or if it's a natural surface or if it's a game that really I need to be able to be shifted.
Yeah.
I
Well,
suppose.
and it's also obviously again a teenager may not have the means. Plus, their feet grow so fast
Right.
that they're not going to be invested like you and I, adult
Right.
referees. Like I have pairs of shoes now that I've had for 10, 15 years.
Right.
Because I don't grow out of them anymore and I don't wear them out. So
Right.
I've now got 3 or 4 choices of what I can ref in because my feet stopped growing
Right.
and I take care of my shoes. So I know if I'm going to go work a game, if it's going to be on grass, has it rained, whatever I need, I can pull out the shoe I need. Which
Yeah.
obviously, again, as a younger referee, you may not have that option.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Well, and I think to your point about for those that are playing at the same time, like if you want to kill 2 birds with one stone, not that we're advocating animal violence, but
Right.
if you are interested in doing this, you could, if you're playing, getting a pair of black
shoes.
cleats
Right.
to play in
Right.
that you can ref in. I know I've known several officials that have done that where it's
Right.
like, okay. And I know sometimes as a player you want to get something a little bit more customized and fun and that
'cause,
kind of thing.
You gotta have a strong shoe game while you're on
You
the
have
field.
to,
Because
right.
that's half the battle there.
That's right.
You score more goals if your shoes are very colorful.
Gotta respect the drip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, the black, but if you're able to double dip on that,
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? That could be something as well. But yeah, like it really doesn't need, I know this is my brain, sorry, my brain's ADD, but I tried one time, what's the one Adidas, the ones that are a little more expensive, they got a whole, Ultra Boosts.
Ultra Boost.
I tried
right.
Ultra Boosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ultra Boosts.
That's what
Yeah.
I used to wear.
On the line, my feet shifted so
They're-
much.
yeah, they
there
don't-
was no, like in the middle, I could probably get away with it, but I did not like those.
And I think the difference for that is they're narrower. Like, because your Hokas are probably quite wide in the heel.
Yeah.
Because they have that kind of flared heel cushioning.
Yes.
Whereas you're right, the Ultra Boosts are not great for that because they're still pretty narrow. I think.
Yeah.
And then you get that ankle. I would guess
Right.
there's a lot of rolled ankles in
Yeah.
Ultra Boost. But again, that depends on players. But
I would, if you're doing a considerable amount of games and cleats are going to cause you shin splints or knee pain or hips or back issues. One of the things that I know several officials will do is get a trail runner type shoe, right? That will have the support of a runner, but will have the grip.
The grip, it has
that can get you there.
Some sort of bottom on it that grabs.
Has something. But honestly, like if you're like today, 80s, low 80s, high 70s, low 80s, sunny, dry day.
Yeah.
You can get away with a pair of running shoes in either position. But being able to have something for wet or dry is nice. But you're right. I think this is a great point for those of you that are younger officials that are growing out of shoes and things like that. Just find something that's comfortable, or find something that works, and then maybe get. I know for me, like I have a pair of insoles, but I also have some like heel supports sometimes if I want to just put something in there for like a gel thing, just to give you a little bit of an oomph thing. I did buy a foot bath.
There you go.
During basketball season.
You got it.
This last year.
You got to take care of your
and I just
your tools.
Well, the little dogs. You just put the dogs in there and let it, and
Yeah.
you put some Epsom salts or something in there. Don't knock it till you try it. Some of you are judging me right now.
That's
I don't
right.
even care.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the truth though. Like I would guess that most soccer players probably do that as well.
Yeah.
Because their feet are their livelihood. That's where they make their money.
Right.
You got to take care of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, we've nerded out a little bit. We've rambled a little bit. We've entertained, hopefully. We've had a good conversation.
There you go.
So speaking of good conversations, now we'll transition. We'll take a brief break, and then we'll transition to a conversation between myself and pro assistant referee Andrew Bigelow. Stick around. The Check Complete podcast is brought to you in part by JF Consulting Tax Preparation and Bookkeeping. Taxes suck. We can help. I am super excited today to chat with someone from the same region that I'm in the U.S. youth soccer, U.S. soccer world. Andrew Bigelow, pro assistant referee. Andrew, thank you so much for your time and being with the Check Complete podcast.
Gordie, happy to be here. Glad we could arrange it and looking forward to chatting this afternoon.
Yeah, this will be great. So, why don't you just give us a basic introduction about yourself? I've already kind of, shown your hand a little bit that you're an assistant referee that works in the MLS, but maybe round yourself out for us. Let us know who you are.
Sure. Well, obviously from a soccer standpoint, you have the Pro AR designation there, as you said, but more importantly, local to Auburn, Indiana. So about 20 miles north of Fort Wayne. So as you said, grew up in the Indiana youth soccer system, in the Region 2 system. So very familiar with the Midwest pathway and Midwest roots there. But I'm in my 18th year currently in public education. I spent my first 9 years as a high school social studies teacher, world history, U.S. history, government, economics. And I'm currently in my 9th year now as our school instructional coach. So pretty unique position, but pretty cool perspective. I get to spend my day helping teachers. How do we reach students best? How do we help students learn? Technology in the classroom, instructional practices, just kind of finding what's best for students in education. So 18 years there, and then 4 daughters at home. My oldest, a freshman, joining me at the high school level this year. And then we also have a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old at home. And my wife, Ashley, is a pre-K teacher. So big education background in the Bigelow family.
There you go. So tons of money, right? You guys are just billionaires.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that's why you went into it, was for the money, for sure. Yeah, I am the son of a history teacher myself. My dad was in that, so I know what that looks like. But very cool, awesome. So let's go to refereeing. Let's talk about your journey. How did you get started in this crazy world that we find ourselves in as referees?
Yeah, absolutely. So not unlike a lot of individuals I hear from and talk to over the years, probably a pretty similar story to what you've heard before. But for me, it was 1997. So I was an under 14 soccer player at the time with my Fort Wayne Sport Club youth travel team. Our entire team took an intro referee course at a local bank. At that time, it was 2 full days. It was your entire weekend. It was 8 hours on a Saturday, and then it was 4 hours on a Sunday, followed by the test, and then you received that certification badge. So for me, it started in 1997. A lot of local games, youth games, rec plus, and really that's where I started to enjoy it. Of all my teammates, I was one that, like, I didn't just do a game here or there. I would bookend our games with games on the front end and the back end, and I enjoy saying I'd come home from school at the end of, or I'd go to school on a Monday after a long weekend, and the friends who worked fast food and Taco Bell and everything, and I'd say, well, that's my $200 to $300 in cash is pretty good. So it started out that way, not unlike anyone else, but I really didn't start taking it seriously, so to speak, or exploring the ladder or what it could mean until I graduated college in 2004. Made my first trip to the youth regionals in Sioux Falls, South Dakota then in 2005. And then was fortunate from that point to really rise pretty quick in the right scenario. So had the opportunity to attend youth nationals in 2006, 2008, and then again as a returner in 2009. And then the national referee badge came in 2010. So I actually spent 3 years as a national referee through 2013. And then kind of at a crossroads there at the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, where I had a lot of different individuals approach me with the idea that my personality and my style as a referee, have you ever thought about, it's when we started to track referees, referee track, assistant referee track. And it was at that time there where they said, you're a good referee, but and it wasn't just one person. I was starting to hear it from lots of different people. But have you ever thought about the assistant referee track, your personality, the way you approach the game, the way you read the game? Like, it might be worth a shot. And listening to that advice ended up really being the turning point for me as far as being able to make that last jump into the professional ranks. So spent 1 year as a national assistant referee, traveling around to different DA events and finals. And then beginning of 2015, fortunate enough to receive that phone call to join the Pro AR pool at that time. So, and this is now my 9th year, believe it or not. I can't believe that, but 9 years and just over 180 MLS games later, and here we are. So yeah, all the way back to 1997 now.
Yeah, and I'm sure it flies by. I mean, that's crazy. So, did you play? Do you have a playing background?
I did, yeah. I mean, obviously talked about, I mean, that's how I got into it originally.
Right.
Was
Right.
the youth soccer team. So I played club ball growing up, high school and track athlete there. And then I played 4 years of Division III soccer at Manchester College in North Manchester, Indiana. We played in the Heartland Division III conference there. And then, like I said, it wasn't until graduating from Manchester that it was like, okay, the playing days are done, obviously, but how can we stay around this game? How can we stay involved? And little did I know what it would potentially turn into, or what it could turn into. I mean, nobody really looks at it. Maybe some do, but very rarely do you look at this and you start and realize where it really can take you. So, yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think I think for the most part, the motivations early on are fairly similar across the board: money and extra something to be a part of and something to do, yada, yada, yada. But then I think then you get in, and I think that's the challenge we're facing now, is trying to help people understand, hey, there's a lot more to this, and what's it going to take to get you there. And we want you to embrace the next steps, the professionalism, the work ethic, all these different things that can set you on the path for that kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about high points and low points. I mean, you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but as you get into it, we know that, life in general, right? It's never smooth sailing. There's always going to be highs and lows. But when it comes specific to the referee experience, I'm sure that there were moments where it felt like a valley and sometimes it felt like a mountaintop. Do you have things that come to mind that fall into those categories?
Sure. I mean, the two that really come to mind didn't really hit home until making it at the professional level. But I mean, the first one, obviously, that phone call in December of 2014, I remember being in the kitchen, and it was caller ID from Chicago, and it was Michael Kennedy at the time, was the pro kind of director of officials. And Michael Kennedy called with that invitation to join the roster at the pro referee camp in January of 2015. So, I mean, that moment right there, your wife's sitting there in the kitchen with you, and kind of that full circle moment of, okay,
Yeah.
we've made it, like, and still kind of that realization of, like, pinch me. Is this really something that could come about? So you have moments like that, and then just, I mean, some of the assignments along the way, like when you're chosen to do some of those games, whether it's, I mean, even looking back to remembering your first state final at the state cup level, and then being selected by your state to attend regionals for the first time, or receiving an Adidas jersey for a semifinal or a final. And then obviously being recognized in front of your peers for to make the U.S. Youth Soccer National Championship Series. I mean, you remember those games along the way, or the 2017 Open Cup final. It was Chico Grajeda's last year, ended up being his last year as a pro official, and to be assigned with another Region 2 referee, Jason White, on that game. You just kind of like, really? You want me to do that game? So, I mean, you get those moments along the way that just, and yeah, it's hard to describe what those feel like the mountaintop. But then again, there's always another game, and there's always something else you're chasing or you're reaching for at this level. I mean, referees are competitive people too, believe it or not. Like and we're definitely our biggest critics, but we also have some of the biggest fan clubs and cheering bases that anyone else could have. I mean, I look at how my family's grown along this journey with me, and how invested they are now in my success and when things go well. And it's those are the best for sure. Just those assignments, the camaraderie, and getting to share it with those around you along the way. But without saying, there's some valleys for sure. I brought up us being our own worst critics as officials, and the thousands upon thousands of decisions that we've made in our careers and in different games, and really probably 98+% of them being correct decisions or expected decisions. But if you ask anyone who really is into their officiating and that self-reflection, they're not going to remember those thousands upon thousands of correct calls and decisions. They're gonna remember those few. For me, there was a playoff game in 2017 where there was a huge mistake with an offside flag going up that pulled the ball out of the goal in a playoff game, and a situation there where you thought everything you built and everything you've done to get to this point, you realize you're only as good as your last game and your last decision. And I mean, fortunately for me, having the support system and the background and everything, and knowing that it is one decision in the scope of thousands. But those valleys come with, whether it be those few assessments along the way, or some of the feedback, or just we want to be perfect, and we want to referee that perfect game, which we know doesn't exist. I mean, even if there aren't any huge mistakes along the way. So I think the biggest valley is being able to manage those moments when they come. How do you react to that decision or that call or that situation that didn't go the way you expected it to? But and having that support network to really lean on and continue on. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that sums it up or not.
No, that's fantastic. And I love, especially that you circled back on that, because I think that support system is so huge. And I know I could speak to that in my own life. And I think many could, probably many that are listening or watching this could talk about that support system, but also kind of like what you described as far as the percentage of accuracy versus the ones that were mistakes or maybe not preferred outcomes is a more gracious way to say that, perhaps. Or maybe they were just straight up mistakes. We've all been there. But I think having what you described in that, the way I would think of that is kind of having the long view, the big picture, right? And not getting so tunnel vision focused on that moment, being like, okay, like think about that. Think about what I've done today. And I look at that in all sports. And I think the broadcasters that have a level head will talk about that. Like, you put it in baseball terms, maybe. We had one missed strike call, but if you look at the report card from that referee, he was 99, or that umpire, he's 99% accurate in a strike zone. Or the offside flags. I mean, American assistant referees are some of the most accurate assistant referees in the world, and yet the ones that obviously are going to make the ESPN headlines and Greg Barkey, wrap ups and things are going to be the ones where there was the one mistake out of 4 games where you were 100% accurate in the right place at the right time. So having that, at least that's what I'm hearing you saying, is having that bigger picture and understanding the longer view. I think that's super healthy and helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a journey, and it's a body of work that it can't be pulled apart by one decision. And just like a career can't be built on one decision. I mean, sure, there's those games or those moments where the right place or the right time and you see the right person. There's some of that factors in too, but
sure,
you're not going to be successful without that consistency and that quality performance after quality performance. And you're going to have those hiccups along the way that you can't let those define you in the bigger picture. So
yeah, that's so good. So good. Hopefully this is hitting somebody at the right place too. I know that there's times you come off a game and you're just like, what am I doing? I'm terrible at this. Can I decline my assignments for the rest of the year? So don't give up. So we're going to add a fun, not that this hasn't been fun by any means. This has been wonderful. We're going to add a slightly different little segment here that I want to kind of start doing. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do, is this or that. Okay, so you have been briefed. We're going to go lightning round here on this or that. So you get to choose which one of these is your preference. Okay, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. When it comes to snacks, are you a sweet or a salty guy?
Gotta go sweet.
Okay, very good. I want to extrapolate that, but I'm going to let it sit. Okay. All right, ice cream or cake?
I'm a cake eater. I love the birthday cake. Like, let's go for a good piece of cake anytime.
Yes, I'm with you on that. All right. Let's go beach or mountains.
This one will get me in trouble at home. So I would take a mountain vacation any day of the week, but the girls and the wife, they want to go to the beach once a year. So that's where we end up.
There you go. All right. iPhone or Android?
Oh, up until this year. So people may or may not know, like the big Apple deal with MLS and everything, the big 10-year broadcast deal and everything, that kind of changed the game for me. So we were offered some Apple products. I've always been an Android guy, but it's Apple now.
It's Apple. All right. You made the switch. Okay. All right. Dogs or cats?
Oh boy. Gonna get myself in trouble with the daughters again, but dad's not a pet person. Not a pet person.
Fair enough. All right. Night owl or morning bird?
With the schedule I run and everything, got to get the workouts in, got to get going for the day. So it's got to be the mornings.
Fair enough. All right. Let's go referee specific type stuff here. When it comes to referee, whether you prefer to work in hot or cold?
Oh, give me the hot any day. Give me water breaks, hydration breaks, sweat pouring in Austin, Texas. Like, bring on the heat.
Oh gosh. All right. Communication devices are old school.
Oh, I'm just so used to them. I don't know. I don't know what we do without them these days.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. VAR or no VAR?
I like a game that you can do with confidence with no VAR. I mean, VAR I think was described best. We had Mike Pereira, one of the directors of NFL
Mm-hmm.
officiating. He came to camp a couple of years ago when we started VAR, and he said you need to look at VAR not as your enemy or something out to get you, but you need to use VAR and instant replay to prove how truly good you are at your job.
Yeah.
So, and I think we do that, like you mentioned, in this country, not just the assistant referees, but the referees and the accuracy rate and the attention to detail. So, give me a good, confident crew with no VAR, but we also know it's there not just to correct those few instances, but it shows how good we really are most of the time.
And I totally agree with that. I think that is fantastic. And I will even use that when I'm refereeing. I'm like, I know that looked super offside, but you guys remember the play from this and this, or you've seen it, right? They go back and look at it. And sometimes what meets the eye isn't always right. And the people in the right place at the right time are going to get it right most of the time. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right. Last one. You prefer AR1 or AR2?
Oh, depends on who we're dealing with behind you with AR1.
Sure.
And it depends what stadium you're in for AR2. So you hear some interesting ones. So they know your name, they know your family. I mean, you try to tune out noise and everything, but some of the random things you hear from time to time, you're just cracking a smile to yourself on the sideline. So
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. That's too good. Well, that was this or that with Biggs here. That's awesome. Thanks for playing. Um, let's, as we wrap up, one question I love to ask is if you could go back and tell first year, first month, first day, brand new referee Andrew some advice, knowing what you know now. Is there something that comes to mind that you'd love to go back and tell yourself?
I don't think you realize, and there's no way to really realize, one, how far you can go if you really dig into it, but two, how long the journey is really going to take and really the ride you're going to be on. I mean, to think this started in 1997 and here it is still going strong in my mind is like that's pretty cool. So I think
Yeah.
making it something more than just you're out for the Saturday, Sunday, make a couple bucks that so many of us start out as, but realizing what it can really do and what it can really become as far as just the camaraderie, the friendships, I mean, there's people who were a part of my wedding party. There's people who, I mean, it's just, and it's all stems from soccer. So I think it's realizing that you're a part of something bigger than just one game or just collecting a few dollars on the weekend. And then I think the other biggest thing is just the life skills you learn besides being between the lines. I mean, the confidence, especially. I also coach varsity girls high school soccer this year with my freshman daughter, and our theme for the year with these 31 girls is just it's hashtag be confident. And it's just if you can carry that confidence with you, not only between the lines, but outside the lines too. And what the game of soccer and officiating has brought to me from a confidence standpoint and just getting me to where I am at this point in my life is you're not there without the soccer journey. So
Yeah.
I think that confidence piece is just, it's so huge in everything that officials do.
Yeah. That's great. Great answer. Very good. Well, I've taken way too much of your time. I'm so grateful that you've carved out some space for this. Mark and I have been looking forward to this since June 2022, when we were in your neck of the woods for regionals, and we were like, we had Swartzel on the podcast, and then we're like, we got to get Biggs on the podcast. So we are so excited that we were able to make this happen. Thanks for your time. Best wishes as you wrap up your pro season as that's wrapping up, and then high school as you're coaching, all that stuff. we wish you the best in that. So any final words for the Check Complete podcast? I'll let you finish us off here.
No, I appreciate the invitation, and I know we've crossed dates so many different times here, so it's awesome just to spend a few minutes and talk about the game we love, and like you said, hopefully give a little something back to everything else that's come our way. But just enjoy what you do on the field, off the field, carry that confidence with you, and just it's so awesome what this game can do for you that you don't even realize. It starts out just attending a class, blowing a whistle, waving a flag, and I mean it's fun to reflect and have those opportunities every now and then, like this forum here, just to tell a story and let people know like what it can become. So I appreciate it.
For sure. Thank you, sir. You enjoy the rest of your day. We'll connect soon.
Take care.
The Check Complete podcast is brought to you in part by JF Consulting Tax Preparation and Bookkeeping. Taxes suck, we can help. This has been another wonderful episode of the Check Complete podcast.
Always a pleasure.
Always. Yeah, this has been great. So thanks for nerding out with us. Oh yeah, your jersey. Yeah, you wore something special for us today.
I did. I went international flair today. So my brother years ago was the equipment manager for the Wizards before they were sporting. So it's been 10, 12 years ago. And they used to go to Argentina for preseason. And he, knowing that I was a referee, he at some point, I guess, traded maybe some sporting gear to one of the referees and got me a couple of Argentinian referee jerseys.
Nice.
Kind of, it's just unique, you know?
We really should do...
Makes me look like I actually was an international referee for a time being.
Right. We really should think about doing some sort of advertising on referee jerseys.
Yeah. Well, the ML, the pro guys do, right? Don't they have something
Tag
on
Heuer,
there?
they said.
Tag, yeah, they do have Tag Heuer, the watch company.
Not the MLS anymore. Pro, it's just Capelli.
Apple?
I'm almost sure they have Tag
They
Heuer
used
on their
to.
sleeve because that's
I
what
don't
their
think they
brand
do
of the substitute boards.
Yeah, I don't
An
think
extra
they do
time.
anymore.
Interesting. I have to look at
Not
that and see.
the MLS. I think pro. I mean, if you ref in
Spain or in Italy, they have.
or
Yeah, lots of-
Mexico,
yeah.
Mexico.
Oh,
Mexico, it's just
Holy
all
cow.
over the place.
Yeah.
But
Look behind you.
what if we did? Yeah, but that's an old
It's
jersey.
an older,
Yeah.
it's from 2018.
That's an
I know.
Adidas jersey.
That's
Yeah,
what he
that's
was saying.
not- yeah.
They used to.
Yeah, they used
I
to.
was thinking they still did, but maybe not.
Well, no, you're wrong.
First time for everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I mean, I think we should do that, or at least, you know, what I was thinking, maybe we should just put like a QR code on the back, like
Right.
become a referee.
Right, there you go.
Like, think you can do better? Scan this.
That would be
You know,
great.
it's QR
How much fun would that be for, I think that would completely break the ice for parents.
Yeah.
Like if you're a parent sitting there and you're going to yell at the referee and as he's moving past you, that's the message you see. Like that would be, what are you going to say as a parent at that point? That would be a great way to bring down the level.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know, that would be great.
Right.
I think it's a great idea.
I think that could work out. Yeah, maybe you could put it on the sleeve. Put something on the sleeve.
That's excellent.
You know?
Yeah. Are you going to be okay? You have an
I was
aneurysm?
trying to flex, but I think I crapped my pants. No, I didn't.
You did more than trying to. You did flex.
I
It
don't
was
have much to
impressive.
flex. Anyway,
That's right.
this has been the Check Complete podcast. If you have any other great ideas, we'd love
We
to
lost
hear
it for a
from
bit
you.
there, didn't we?
Yeah, it's gone. If you have any other great ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us, info@checkcompletepodcast.com. Make sure you like and subscribe on all of the social media channels at check_complete on Instagram and Twitter, Check Complete Podcast on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're not already watching this on YouTube, even if you're not going to watch it on YouTube, like if you're just an audio person, that's okay. Maybe just, head over to YouTube and just, hit the subscribe, because, what's it going to cost you? You don't get a limited amount of subscriptions.
That's right.
You can subscribe to whatever you want. So just give us the sub there.
It's all about the awareness.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And then a big thank you to Andrew Bigelow for his time. Wonderful conversation with him as he continues to officiated at a high level and is an outstanding assistant referee in professional soccer in the United States.
And great guy to talk to.
Great, all around great person. Absolutely. So good stuff. Jason, thank you again.
Hey, glad I could jump in last minute. It was good.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to get out, but you've asked a couple times and it just didn't work out timing wise. So glad I was available.
Yeah, that was
Good
strategic.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we knew you could.
know-
So we're like, we'll just throw him a bone, knowing
you
this
check
isn't
my
gonna work.
Heartland schedule and invite when you know I got games, just so you can say you did.
Darn
Nice.
it!
Dang
What
it!
you're booked. Anyway,
I knew
all
there
right.
was some secret motives all along.
Usually are.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Happy whistling out there. Stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep bringing more into the fold. Recruit. Bring some friends along. If you're refereeing, if you're not already refereeing, what are you doing? You're missing out on fun.
Yeah.
So
And
thanks.
keep learning.
That's right.
Keep learning.
That's right.
It's always there's always something to be brought away from the games you do, and
That's right.
accept feedback. It's always valuable. So
That's right.
yeah, especially from that one Sporting Blue Valley coach, the
That's right.
bald guy with glasses.
That's right.
Whatever he says, it's well intended.
It's gospel. That's right. This has been the Check and Bleed podcast. Thanks for watching.